Hello, fellow board gamers. My name is Marcel. You know me as your Lord of the Board Games German YouTube channel. Today it's everything in English because I do have a very special guest. Hello, Carl Paradies. It's nice
Hi,
that you took your time to, speak with me.
thanks. Nice to be here. We'll both be a bit handicapped because my main tongue is French, and I suppose yours is English. Do you know how to speak French, by the way?
My main language, mother tongue, is German, but French.
German, yeah.
I did not speak French for about 20 years. Yeah, sadly.
Okay, but you understand a few words,
Of
of
course,
course.
yeah. Yeah, I was born, I was grown up in Rheinland-Pfalz, that's next to the French border. And of course, we had a lot of friends over there, but it's 20 to 30 years ago. Yeah, but
Yes, yeah.
let's talk about you and your games before we start with the actual project. Carl, you are a very known person in the war game branch, war game board game branch. What games are you
Yeah.
known for?
Oh well, the main series I did was my No Retreat
Yeah.
game series, 5 games, World War II, covering pretty much all the fronts. I still have one to make on the Normandy D-Day landings. I will do that probably in a couple of years with Sound of Drums.
Yeah.
I'm bringing all my series to Sound of Drums. I will remake everything super deluxe,
Wow.
designer edition, last edition of the game, and UA gave me free reign for everything I want to put in those. That's be really exciting to do that. So that's my main series. I have a lot of tons of projects that I haven't done yet. So I'm starting with Sound of Drums to work well. I have a lot of other games, including Heroes I want to do. The
Hmm.
No Retreat series is also being ported to computer by Avalon Digital. The first No Retreat, the Russian front, the first one will be out probably late this year, early next year, but you will hear about it very soon. But I started wargaming. I'm 60 years old.
Hmm.
I'm a semi-retired engineer since 4 or 5 years ago, just before COVID. I'm doing some contracts now and then, but now I have more time to do war games
Hmm.
and games in general. Before I did about one game each 2 or 3 years when I had the time. Now I have more free time, so I'm able to be way more productive. So you will see if everything goes well and the games are well liked, I can put easily 2 to 3 games per year, so probably more than you can produce. I started gaming in the late 70s when I was a teen. I played war games, but then I went right away into role-playing games. I
Role
did
play.
20 years of Dungeons and Dragons, was a game master. I created 2 game clubs. Then I went to miniature gaming. I did Napoleonic miniature, stuff like that. Then I went into computer gaming. I followed pretty much all the fad, but about 20 years, 15 years ago, I went back to my first love, which is wargaming. And I started doing games with Victory Point Games, then GMT. I did some miniature rule sets also and stuff like that, but mainly for my own use. So
But
I'm a gamer first, and designer second. I design games that I want to play
yeah.
first, and then if people like my games, then it's the more the merrier. I'm really happy about that. So I'm a sticker for quality. The important thing is quality components,
Yeah.
ease of play. I don't like monster game that much. I owned a lot of those games, but I was never able to finish them
S-
entirely, only in a few cases. So I'm trying to get something easily set up on a small kitchen table if that's what you have,
Yeah.
and you can play fast, and that's what I want.
So
A
I
bit
think,
like a new war game kind of thing.
yeah, very important information I gathered there. First is that you try to deliver quality products, and
Yes.
this is probably a very smart decision to work with Sound of Drums, as I do own a lot of games from them, and their products always have really high quality components. Speaking about history
Yes.
of the ancient seas,
Right.
Eilau,
Yeah.
which might be a bit similar to your game now, or 1793 Patriots and Traders. I always tried them, played them, and they really look great. And of course, the ease of play is a
Yes.
very important
They
factor.
have a you speaking about quality, they have a great Chinese manufacturer. You win. Those guys are they do incredible stuff. I know the owner of the company. The guy
Mhm.
is really cool, and that's what brought me to Son of Drum first. Is the quality of their first game, and
Mhm.
I really wanted to try to be part of it. I'm really happy that UA has decided to bring me aboard. I think it will be really fun.
But let's talk about war games and your current project, as it is in the last 48 hours. It's a war game. We will show it in a few minutes. But
War games series.
It's a war game series. It's the first volume of a series. My problem with war games was always I did not catch it. I couldn't enter it. And now you come up with this. Probably it will create a new genre like Richard Bork did with Command and Colors, probably. And what I found out is that you try or you break away with the traditional hex and counter things. You will work with zones and wooden counters. That creates a table presence. Probably for me as a board gamer, this gets me better into the table. And you do not work with dice, no tables, but you have a kind of card play, hand management aspect, which is very unusual for war games. So how did you came up with this? Is it about creating something with either ease of play?
Yeah, just speaking about the cards before I forget, there is a lot of card-driven games in the wargame business. So you have cards and you have events and you have to choose one card and that's what you'll do this turn.
Yeah.
My games are more card and hands. So in fact, I could just dispense without the cards. It would be less fun. But I could play the game with dice. It's possible. It would not work as well. But my first prototype that I did were with X's and I had dice, just to make it simple and to try to test the game at a high level. But using cards give me far more possible leeway for the game and do historical events. Add a lot of historical prone to put people more in the shoes of the commander. And look at the dice. You have a 6-sided dice, 10-sided dice. So you have 6 possibilities of 10. You can have 20-sided dice or a combination, but you don't have that many possible outcomes. Using cards, if I can go into the nuts and bolts of design just a bit, my main card deck is 70 cards. Mm-hmm. So it's like I have the 70-sided dice there with a lot of possibilities. So it's easier to make a game more interesting, combat more interesting, and outcomes more interesting because I have a lot more possibilities that I can play with. So that's a plus, and it's simpler for the players because the combat system is easy. In some war games, you have all the outcome things, 2 against 1 and stuff like that. You have to make computation in your head, which is not too bad. But if you have a large game with 100 and thousands of counters, you pass hours and hours computing those odds. At a certain point, you get a headache. It's a bit tiring. It's a lot of work. So I'm trying to remove all the possible mundane, dull work from the player's hands and integrate that in the design. And that's not easy to do. So that's why that system took me about 4 years to make.
Wow.
So yes, I tried with Excess first, and then you asked me what I wanted to do exactly. Since I'm a role-playing dungeon master at heart, I did 20 years of the Dungeons & Dragons, at least more than that. I wanted a big role-playing aspect to the game, so I wanted the map to look like an actual historical Napoleonic map from the times, 200 years ago, and to have the small blocks like what you see on those maps, those small red and blue lines. So I like the Kriegspiel blocks that they used in the German army for training in the 1800s. So when you look at the game map,
do we want to show the campaign page, Carl?
Yes, please do.
So give me a second to switch to the campaign page. Yeah. So I switched over to the GameFound campaign, which might be more interesting than seeing our faces all the time. And we will talk about what makes Battle Commander a unique, exciting wargaming experience. Carl, what would you say?
Well, as you can see right now, scroll up a bit.
Yeah.
Yes, you're at the right place. As you can see, the map is really clean. You don't have a lot of X's, X numbers, and all kind of wargaming stuff that you usually see on the map and that gamers are used to and they don't see anymore. But if you are new to that kind of game, that's not something that is really interesting or needed for your gameplay. So the map is really looking, like I said before, like a real Napoleonic map. Mark von Marshall did an excellent job there. All the graphics are like a kind of water-based paint, like they had the maps at the time. So it's really, really good to get into the topic and to feel like you're really looking at a real Napoleonic battle from really high up. And the counters, as you can see, the blocks are really, really nice. They are painted on, so you don't have any stickers to put on it. They are already like that.
I saw them at Essen. Uwe showed me them.
Yes, very, very nice, heavy, and very nice to handle. You don't have a lot of info on the blocks themselves because it's painted on with silk screening, I think. So there's a limit to the amount of details you can put on the block, and it's fine with me because I like simple counters, simple games.
I think it's a heat transfer technique. Heat transfer.
Oh, perhaps it's transfer. I'm not sure. I thought it was silk screening, but it could be transfer.
Yeah.
So you don't have, and I did some tests. They are very, very durable. They won't be erased by your fingers. They will last almost forever. From what I tested with those blocks, so it's really nice. A lot of the historical info is in the playbook anyway. So for the historical maniacs, if you want to know what were the division names and what kind of organization it was, it's all in the playbooks for all the battles. But the pieces are more like what you see in the 1800 Napoleonic map of the time. So the counters are very simple, but all the info you need is there. And it gives you a real miniature feeling, a miniature battle feelings to the game, instead of having piles of counters and nexus that they work, but they don't feel like a real Napoleonic battles. You have all those wooden blocks. It's really, really better for the whole atmosphere of the game.
So here you see the maps. They look really, really great here.
Yes, and the colors are not too aggressive. It's really pale colors. The maps are works of art, are really, really good. You don't have my prototype maps that I made, but they were not as good as what you have here. And the blocks are really nice. That's all that you need to play, plus a few markers. But even then, the markers are not absolutely needed unless you check the small red explosions. It's to tell which units have attacked. But you don't need the other. But usually you pivot the blocks to show losses and all that. If you look at the small cavalry down the screen, you have you will flip the counters to tell if they are disrupted and stuff like that. When they take losses, you take a large block and put a smaller one. It's really all simple, and you count the number of icons on the block, and that's the strength point. And everything is done with chit pool. What chit pool means in regular terms, you have a big cup with cubes of different colors, and you pick up the cubes randomly and it tells you what to do. So if I pick a blue cube, the French can move a few units, not all his armies, just a few units that are adjacent to each other to represent like a group of a division of troops that's controlled by a brigadier general, something like that. If you pick up a red cubes, you have a combat, and then each player does an attack, and you do an attack, I do one. Yellow cubes are for rallies and stuff like that. So we don't have fixed turns. It's not you move all your units, you move your attack, then it's my turn. It's all very, very random, and you never know what will happen next. That's really fun, and you always engage because you don't have to wait like 30 minutes to do something. You're always able to do something. You have cards to use with events on them, and it's very, very dynamic and fluid.
Yeah.
So it's a really great experience. It's really fun to play. It plays fast, and not only that, it represents history very, very well, surprisingly. For a simple game like that, it works very well. All the battles we tested, we were always able to get very, very historical results, sometimes not. That's another strong point to the game. No two games are ever alike. The first Montebello scenario, the introductory scenario, I tell players to play first. You don't have about 10 blocks per side, 10, 12. And I played it probably 30 times, testing, never got the same game. Well, perhaps once in 30 times I got the same result, but most of the time it's always very, very different each time you play. So there is a lot of replay value in the game. There is no perfect plan. You have random events, black swan events, like another designer that I don't remember did for the Civil War battles. It's a very chaotic affair, but then you have to make a plan to take that into account, and it's really, really fun. My game design philosophy is to have players not control more than not control more maneuver element than chess. So it's about maximum 2,000 counters. Sometimes way less than that. No, you don't have to maneuver 100 counters on.
What I get now is,
if you want 2 players, it's really time consuming, and I really want players to.
One of the unique selling points to me is definitely the cube pull activation system.
Yes.
So that
very
really,
friendly.
Yeah, as I said, I want to come into the wargaming thing, and if things go more quickly and probably a bit more unpredictable, so that there is not a lot of downtime where people sit there thinking for minutes, that feels more like a real battle. And this could be really interesting, beside the, like you wrote, the emphasis on command, so that I'm the commander and there are critical decisions about how I deploy, move, and how I fight. And that's really cool.
What will happen, the way you play the game, you have to think like very general. It's a bit cliche, but that's the way to play. You have to put yourself in the shoes of the commander, and then make a plan in your head, what I will do at high level, and then you implement it on the board. But it's not like when you start playing war games, there is so much detail, so much stuff to take into account. If you have to do everything at once, one full turn with the combat, the movement of all your troops, you will get overwhelmed. In the game, you make a plan, but then because of the chip pool, you won't have to think about more than one small specific action for now, and then the game will go on, and you will. It's like you will digest the game by small parts.
Yeah.
A bit like the command and colors system. The command and colors player like it because you have cards, but you have to choose one card and you have to act on that card. You won't be able to move more than 3, 4, 6 blocks. And then the opponent does the same at his turn. It's pretty much the same kind of limiting system. You don't have to take account for everything. After you make your big plan, the game, the turn will be cut up in small parts that are easily manageable. So it's easy to get into the game, even if you don't master it or know it well, no problem. Each small cube is a small puzzle you will have to manage, and it's about 5 minutes for each cube maximum. So we cut the game into manageable parts, and you don't have a lot of blocks, not a lot of turns. The maps are not big. So it's really a super playable game. That's why besides the superb component, that was my main goal. To make it as easy to play as possible, no computation.
That's really what I was thinking when I read about the cube pull activation. Really, really a selling point, if not the unique selling point. But you see me scrolling through the playbook.
About the cube pull. When he did his idle game, he had the same cube pool system. Well, he was using chip pool system, but we got the same idea about at the same time without talking to each other. So when I show him my system, he said, "Well, hey, it's pretty much resembles a lot of my gaming philosophy for my game." So right away we got along very well because we had the same kind of design idea from the start.
Yeah. So, and as you talked, it's not a lot of cubes, a lot of army deployment here. You see me scrolling through your playbook, of course, and it's just a few of these cubes. And what I recognize, these are so many varied scenarios, and I assume that they are based on historical battles. So that gets me.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you all
Yeah.
the time. I want to say a lot of things.
Yeah.
What you're showing is the Montebello scenario was the small battle. It was designed especially as a learning experience for the game. It's very fun. You don't have a lot of blocks at the start. More will enter in the game.
Cool.
And all the scenarios, a very good question you ask. They are all historical scenarios. I did research for every one of them, serious research. I had help from many scholars. I'm a military history nut, so I have a large Napoleonic library. Right now, I'm in my standing in my Napoleonic library room. I have hundreds of books on the topic. So it's a serious game in historical terms. I did my work. Everything is really historically correct. And
Wow.
as you did a very interesting point. I did put a lot of variety, a lot of different kind of battles.
Yeah.
Some battles are retreats. You have surprise meeting encounters, set piece battles. They are all about Napoleon's first campaigns in Italy, though. You have 6 battles in the game. That's a lot. And you have the expansion pack that is added to that. It's pretty inexpensive. You have an extra 6 battles. So if you take the game plus the small expansion pack,
Wow.
right out of the bat, volume 1, you have 12 battles. And I will make far more. A bit like Command and Colors, we have a lot of battles in there. But in Command and Colors, you have just one kind of basic map. Here you have a historical map for each and every battles. And as you show there, you have the orders of battle detailed for each side. You have an army map that is used for each general. You have a general card also with each general has special abilities. And if he gets wounded or incapacitated, you flip the cards back to his aide-de-camp, the second in command that will take command when the main general is not there. Your army map will manage, to ease play again, army map will manage all your counters and your markers and stuff like that. So big, nice components, ease of play for the players, fast games, and you won't get a headache playing that game.
Yeah.
At all.
And I always
there
say,
will be some larger battles. Yeah.
when I do want to play board games, for me the most important thing is theme is king. And from what I see here
Yes.
is that immersion is really written in capital letters here.
And if you can show some event cards.
Event
The
cards.
event cards are really, really
Here,
fun. You
this
have
here?
all kind of historical happening. Yeah, you can have leader cards that could help your attacks. You can get reinforcement earlier. You can get random events that will cause you to be out of ammo or stuff like that. And each tailored to each battle. So each battle has its own random event table for each side. So it's tons of variety, tons of different things can happen. It's really a kind of role-playing war game. The thing that I did, since I'm a tactical Napoleonic miniature player, the combat system is a bit involved, not complex, but you have a lot of possibilities. So a lot of small details, stuff can happen. You can put your troops in squares, total cavalry. You can make huge grand columns, and you can do grand batteries of artillery. Napoleonic stuff that happened at the time. So we have a bit of room for that, so that the game plays like a Napoleonic battle. It's not a generic war game with a Napoleonic theme. The game is really tailored to actual Napoleonic tactics and the way it worked on the battlefield, up to a point. I did not want to go into small details like the Halo Thunderdrum games does. It's another type of games. It's for another type of customers, and I had to stop at a point. At a point, some of the details are we say it's the design decisions I've made so that some of the info is kind of hidden from the players, but it's still in the system. But you really have to try it to see how it works. It's surprising how well it represents the battle, the way the battles happen at the time. Everything is there. So in the rule book that you have, the first rule book,
Yeah.
it will be good for the whole series. I don't need to. Everything is there. once you learn the rule book, you will be able to play all the game in the series. When the American Civil War or 7 Year War game come up, the rule book will be 80% the same.
You can be pretty sure that I will play this game, as I'm starting to fall in love with the game because of all this ease of play, the immersion, theme is king, and the engaging gameplay that really drags me into the game. And
really fun to play. It's exciting. You never know what will happen with the cube pool, but the cube won't tell you exactly what to play. Like in Command and Colors, the card will tell you, okay, move your right flank, move your left troop on your left. But if I don't have left flank cards, I want to move something on the left, I can't. It's a bit frustrating. This game is a bit more open. You have more leeway on what you can do, but there is some you cannot move all your troops at the same time. So there is some kind of decision making that is a bit more, in English, it's more granular, as I said before.
Yeah.
So you don't have to
and
do too many things at once.
From what I can say now is that the structure of the rulebook, which is not final, is very clear at first glance, and it's just 36 pages, which is not a lot for a complex game.
Yes, well, the first rulebook was 12 pages.
Oh, really? Just 12?
Oh, yes. The layout is because we are adding a lot of pictures, a lot of examples. And the final rulebook will have even more. But besides the combat system, you have to know a bit how Napoleonic tactics work. But we have a lot of example of play, and I have extensive historical players and designer notes, pages and pages of advice on how to play the game too. But I don't tell everything. I leave the player the pleasure of discovering some of the tricks of the game. It's a bit like chess. When you learn chess, you don't know everything, all the special moves and tricks. So you can learn a bit of those, but you need experience in playing. So as the game will get better and better, the more you play it, you will discover new tricks, new tactics, and it will be even more fun. So it's a learning experience that gets better and better all the time. I say that because that's what is happening with me. I've played the game for over 3 years now, and I'm always discovering new things and having fun. It's a bit like a game design kit in a way for battles. I expect players that, a bit like Command and Colors, players will be able to make, if they want, their own rules and make their own battles, because it's the core system is so simple and easy to play and to manage that you can easily have fun in modifying the game yourself. The whole core system is really solid and can take that kind of abuse, kind of own rule change or stuff like that.
Well, what I can tell you from browsing through the rulebook, that I am not afraid to learn your game, which is really important, because there are so many war games out there which, me as a starting wargamer am a bit afraid, but I think I can learn that alone. Speaking about alone, when we are talking about who is Battle Commander 4, it offers solitaire gameplay as well. But the rulebook looks very, very good to me. It's really well structured. I do find the things where I expect them to be. So let's switch over back to the campaign now. What would you say for me as a starting player, or what players is it for? Of course, wargame enthusiasts and Napoleonic freaks fans. Is it for solitaire players, casual gamers? What would you say?
Well, all of that, because, I'm a solitaire player myself. I don't have that many players available easily from home, so I play about 90%, about 80 to 90% of my game as solitaire. Because of the chip pool and the card system, it's really easy to play solitaire because, as I said, you have only small set of decisions to make with each cube pool, and since you don't know what cube will be pulled, it adds to the unknown, and of course it's easier to play solitaire that way. I have a special set of easy rules for that, for the solitaire play. The only small quibble with solitaire is that you don't see the card that your opponents have, of course. And when you play solitaire, you see all the cards. That's a bit of a downside, but I've devised a new way of managing the cards when you play solitaire that will alleviate that problem. About 90% of the not seeing the cards won't matter the way the special solitaire rule works. So it's a great. In terms of war game play, it's one of the best. I think the system is one of the really good system that can be super fun solitaire, because I have fun with that game and I play solitaire. The next step will be to make a pure solitaire game.
Oh, really?
But I won't do that, because it's really hard to make a good solitaire play engine for that kind of game, especially since you have a lot of scenarios and stuff like that. But eventually, perhaps I'll make it into a computer game for players with AI, like I'm doing for my new retreat game. At one point, it will be really easy to do, because there's not a lot of wood blocks, and the strategies are probably easy to program. We'll see about that, though. But it's super easy to play solitaire, super fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The game is tailored for that, for sure.
So, and as we see here, I think this would be the volume to go, the pledge to go here. 65 euros during the campaign is the complete box, which I saw at Essen. If it's really such a huge, it's a huge box. Yeah, I saw it in Essen.
Mounted maps. You get 3 mounted maps, double side.
Yeah.
Plus another map in the expansion pack. Tons of wood, super nice wood blocks, painted on. The event cards are great. The graphics are superb. The max graphics are really out of this world. It's so nice. It puts you into the Napoleonic period right away. How can I say that in English? Nothing will hurt your eyes in that game.
Yeah,
it's all
I understand.
Nice to look at. Sometimes some gamers, some wargame designers, they are great designers, but they are not graphists. So they don't have what it takes to make a product really stand out. So it's sometimes the games are a bit annoying, but if you let a good graphic artist run away and let him do what he wants, you get that kind of great product.
Yeah,
for the price, it's something.
As I had the chance to meet Mark in person at Essen,
yes,
this looks really familiar to me. It's his style of working on art, and I saw that in 1793, which is also from Sound of Drums, Jason St. Just. Awesome board game. Has nothing to do with your board game, but it's
it's the same period, same time period.
I wanted to say that
kind of graphics. I expect him to do when we do American Civil War. I expect him to do great American Civil War type of graphics, because he did game for other companies too. He's doing game for graphics for other games, and each time his style it puts you into the time period. It's really nice. He's able to adapt the graphics to the needs of the game. It's really nice. That game for the price, once you get into the game, in fact, you probably will have trouble fitting everything into the game. So much stuff there will be, and plus the if you can show the playbook again. I don't know if you've shown it with the setup maps. The setup of each battle is super fast, because you don't have to look at a counter and a numbered X where you put your counters in. You have a picture for each battle. Try to find the Montebello game, perhaps.
Montebello is
no, not the Montebello. The Lonato scenario is the map is still the latest map, but the first one. Go down a bit. Go down. Down. There. Everything for the starting battle, everything is there. You just have to look at the map, put the blocks on. It takes you 5 minutes. Everything is set for the game.
That looks so tidy, so clean.
Yes.
I really want to play that game. So this may be my way into wargaming. And as Uwe knows, and I talked with Jason about that, I love the area. And for me, it's so important to be drawn into the theme. Yeah, as I said, theme is king. And now you come with the immersion of being a Napoleonic general here. That's what I want to experience.
It's a kind of a miniature game feeling, but without the hassle of all the miniature that costs a lot of money. So you don't have the hexes. So the board looks, as you said, really, really, really clean.
Yeah.
And besides, for artillery, you don't need to fret about the orientation of the blocks either. It just has to look good. When I tell players in the real book, put the blocks into a logical front-like manners against the enemy. It has to look good on the table. It's the battle decorum is important. It has to look like a real battle, not a bunch of counters all mixed up all over the place.
Yeah.
So that's super important.
You don't need miniatures. No, you don't have to take miniatures here, as that would not look authentic. No. Here it looks like a battle table in a war room where there are sitting these generals with the staves pushing around the cubes here, and that looks really authentic to me.
That's what I wanted to exactly what I wanted to achieve with that game system. But it took a lot of time, a lot of prototype, a lot of effort to have it right. As I said, it took me 4 years to get up to this point. 3 different versions. The combat system was really, really hard to put all together. In fact, I had to use some AI computing help to make all the combat system, because there are so many variables with the 70 cards, so 70 combat table. I had to use some help to make a simulation of each battle, well, of the first few battles, to check if the combat system is working fine, because it was too complex for me to compute. It would have taken me too much time. So I had a bit of AI help for that, just to make play 100 games with all the cards to see if all was working well. In fact, it was not. I had to make some adjustment because the first game had some problems with the combat system and the event cards.
Yeah.
Things were not working as I wanted, but no, it's near perfect. As perfect as it could be.
Okay.
So I'm really, really, really happy with the end result for that first game.
Okay. So that was really an impressive introduction to your game. I told you what I like most mechanically wise is the cube pull activation system, which is really perfect for me as a beginner. I'm always calling me a beginner. And of course, the emphasis on the command. I want to be the commander. I want to experience that theme is king thing. Yeah, the immersion with all these varied scenarios. And you told us who the game is for. So in, let's say, 2 to 5 sentences, can you recap what you do offer with your first volume of Battle Commander?
Well, it's a super playable role-playing wargame experience, where you play the commander. Not only you play the commander, but you have your own commander card with all your abilities on it. So you're important, your commander is important. It will decide a lot of things in the games. It's not a one-dimensional flat war game. You have a lot of variable of layers in it, and you cannot master it all from the start, but you have to live the experience, have fun. You won't be fighting the rules. You won't be fighting the combat system. You won't do computation all the time. So I think it's a war game, a simple war game, the way the war game is supposed to be played, having fun, getting into the Napoleonic epoch, and it's all about the historical experience, the pageantry, the fun aspect of all the random events. You never know what will happen, but it's all tailored into a small. It's custom placed into a set of rules that will be not foolproof, probably not foolproof, but almost foolproof. It's very tight game system. You won't get lost into small details all the time. You won't get a headache with tons of counters calculating odds or not understanding weird rules. Everything makes sense. Everything is there for a reason. It's super manageable. And it's super fun to play, and never 2 games that they don't play the same, and you have like if you take the game plus the expansion pack, you have 12 battles to explore. Just the first game, you will have fun for years and years. Of course, hopefully you will want to buy the other games too that will come out, the other volumes. And it's a common set of rules. The rules will stay the same. And we work really, really hard on those. So the quality will be there from the start. Don't expect the rules to be changed. We have tons of erratas or stuff like that. That happens with a lot of games, and I understand why. But the way this one was done, it's to alleviate all those problems, and the components are just gorgeous.
I couldn't have summed it up in a better way. Carl,
yeah.
Thank you a lot for your time. Thanks. You for your introduction. Yeah?
One last thing.
Please.
I'm a gamer first. When player know me, if you have game question, you have issues with the rules, don't feel like a fool. Ask me. I'm on Board Game Geek. I'm on the internet all the time. I'm semi-retired right now. I have times for that. I love talking with players, getting input, discussing rules. I love that. So you will get support all the time.
You can count on that, because after this experience tonight, I will definitely play your game as soon as it is released. And if I have any questions, I will ask you first. Yeah, and I will definitely tell you how I like it. But I'm pretty sure that this will get me into the world.
We'll do video tutorials too. It's a lot of I had a lot of things to do in the last few months, so it's not done yet. I had other issues. We had the rule book to double, triple, quadruple check. So probably next year I will start doing small video tutorial clips, like 5 minutes each.
Cool.
Like, let's talk about cavalry charge. Let's talk about how do you bombard with your artillery. Let's talk about how the deck of cards is done. What I will probably do also a podcast with like the card of the week, and I will explain that card and explain it in an historical context and what the card means, why I decided it that way. So player that wants to really get into those small details, I will do that. If not, well, you don't need it. Just play the game and have fun. It's all right too.
Yeah. Do you already know when the game will be ready to be delivered? From what I know about Uwe, he will try to deliver them fast.
It's about my pay grade, but I think that with the experience he had with all the other games, he's getting a new distribution system. Well, it's business. He's an expert in that field. I will say it will all depend on the Chinese manufacturers. Chinese New Year is coming in January, February. I'm pretty sure the game will be published by March. Well, if you ask UA, I'm sure he will give you an advance copy in March.
Wow.
Sure.
I was hoping that it is ready before Essen, but spring 2025, that's of course great.
Well, Essen is when?
Essen is in October, so this will be no problem.
Oh, no problem. In fact, we'll probably have the prototype, if all goes well. I have finished Volume 2, and Volume 3 is almost done.
Wow.
So Volume 2, probably the prototype of Volume 2 will be offered. You will have Austerlitz in that, the Battle of the Pyramids, a lot of super cool battles, all different. Small battles, large ones, some battles in the snow, some in the rain. It's surprising how you have a large variety of all kinds of encounters during Napoleon times. People are always focusing on the same battles, like Waterloo and Borodino and stuff like that. They're interesting, but there were so many super interesting battles that nobody covered. And not only fought by Napoleon's general, all kind of really weird stuff that happened. I have tons of anecdotes about some of the battles. So it's really, really interesting.
So Carl, for me, that was really great. That was a great experience.
Thanks.
As I did not have to say a lot. You are doing the whole process here. So I would like to do that again, if you like, in the upcoming month. Yeah, so we can repeat that, probably if there is something more to show.
It's the first one, so I had a lot of stuff to tell. Next time, I will let you talk more and ask the questions.
Yeah.
It will be better though.
Yeah, and I'm more into that, and I can work some more questions out for us, and then, let's keep talking. Let's, stay in contact.
Sure.
So, thank you again for your time.
Go listen at least. Well, they are quite long. They are what my podcast or I think it's long are they? Wait. It's 15 minutes each.
Yeah.
Go if you listen to the first one, if that podcast doesn't give you it doesn't how do you say that in English? Doesn't give you the urge to play the game, nothing will. And in the second podcast, I talk about well, and not me. The engine talks about Napoleonic tactics versus the game system. So how Napoleonic tactics, the game system relates to each other.
Yeah.
And I can make more than authors, but the first one is it's really, really fun.
Yeah, yeah. Please send it to me as soon as you have some graphics, and I will. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
what I will do next to do for me, my girlfriend will finish the podcast with the graphics. I will modify them a bit. Then I will send that to you.
Yeah, please.
And tell me what you think, what you want us to change, if anything on that, and we'll start from there. And as I said, my next goal, or I will do a small blog on the Sound of Drone website when it's ready, and I will pick a topic each week, probably, or perhaps even each day. I can take the card of the day, and I will speak about a specific card. Like I have leader cards. I think let's talk about the Murat event card, and then I will speak a bit about Murat, his history, and then how you can use that card in the game. So that would be interesting. I think the player will like it because they liked it when I did it for my other games, and I will send that to you too probably, and we'll go on from here.
Yeah.
From there.
So let's do that, and thank you for attending. Thank you for all your time, and
one other thing, you spoke about your website, your YouTube channel, something like that.
Yeah.
Is it in German?
It's in German.
I think you send me a link. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I will go and watch that.
Yeah, please do that. But from time to time, I do English-speaking videos, especially if I do some interviews, as most of them are talking English. And I did videos with Jason. Yeah, you know him. And then we did that in English too. But I think the audience is used to get an English video from time to time. So nobody will be surprised.
The language doesn't matter for me. I just put closed caption and translation on it. It's fine.
Cool.
And go listen to the
I will.
15 minutes though. If you can have 15 minutes, go listen to at least the number one podcast.
I will.
The second in the list, but it's number one.
Okay. I will do
it. It's really, really good. Yeah.
Thank you, Carl.
Thanks.
Okay.
Have a great evening.
Same to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.